Tonight on the NewsHour, Pit Stop. The First Lady of the United States makes an appearance at J-Bear, what some students had to show her. Good evening. A plane that looks an awful lot like Air Force One landed today at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson.
But President Donald Trump was not on board. Just days after helping strike a gasoline deal between China and the state of Alaska, the president is still touring Asia.
Channel 2's Austin Baer joins us with a look at who stepped off the plane. Well, it's a day that we honor those who have served our country. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, but today there were several events held to honor those who have risked and lost their lives for our freedom. Now, in the Valley, a private first-class soldier was honored and remembered after he recently died in Afghanistan. Channel 2's Caslin Hatch was there for the touching ceremony. And since Kirkpatrick's death, another Alaskan lost his life in the line of duty. On October 27th, 36-year-old Chief Warrant Officer Jacob Michael Sims was killed in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. Now, since 2005, 24 service members who have called Alaska home died on the battlefields in both Iraq and Afghanistan. And just ahead on the NewsHour, recognizing those who donate their tissues after death, and we learn about 2 Alaskans being honored for that very special gift. After repeatedly denying claims that he drugged members of his dog team, 4-time Iditarod champion Dallas Seavey is now demanding the Iditarod Trail Committee show him the results from the alleged failed drug test.
In a release today, Seavey says
the Iditarod Trail Committee targeted Seavey after his sled dog team tested positive for the painkiller tramadol. Now, Seavey blasted the ITC over those allegations, but the committee has stuck with its statement. A North Dakota senator is pushing for more attention to be paid to missing and murdered Native women. Senator Heidi Heitkamp says that these women are facing murder rates well above the national average, and not enough is being done to address the issue.
She's pushing legislation that would call on the federal government to implement.
Well, it's never easy losing loved ones, but 2 Alaskans who became tissue donors will be recognized at next year's Rose Parade on January 1st.
As Channel 2 Samantha Ngaik tells us,
what could it possibly be if we're mentioning it?
Tracy,
good?
I'm not telling until later.
Well, I think that what Blake really wanted to point out here was that your forecast is great, but man, those images behind you, Tracy.
Lovely,
Beautiful.
Aren't they lovely?
Yeah, absolutely.
Particularly that Aurora one was very nice.
Oh, it's like a preview.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Tracy.
From the good to the bad, cockroaches, bed bugs, and drug users, oh my. What investigative reporter Kyle Hopkins found at one local hotel is enough to make your skin crawl.
State law limits the number of liquor licenses allowed in each Alaska city, and in fact, the number of bars in Anchorage is already tapped out.
Well, but as Channel 2's investigative reporter Kyle Hopkins tells us, getting a so-called tourism license is a way to get around that cap, a way for businesses to make money selling alcohol. You got to give Kyle credit. He lasted 12 hours in there. That is incredible, seeing the bugs and all the criminal activity.
And I mean, the thing is, like, that's what he found when he went there.
Yeah, over just a 12-hour period.
Right, exactly.
Unbelievable. That
It
was
is.
a very, very good story.
Good thing you put out that warning before
Yeah.
he showed the story. All right, when we come back to...
Well, session adjourned, what the state Senate agreed to, and what they didn't take up.
And higher budgets means higher tuitions for University of Alaska students.
You're watching Alaska's #1 news team with Mike Ross, Rebecca Falsha, and Jackie Purcell with the weather. The Channel 2 NewsHour continues.
In Juneau, this year's 4th special session is done, or is it? Today, the Senate agreed to changes made by the House to the Criminal Justice Reform Bill, SB 54. Then they adjourned on the session for good, indicating yet again that they will not take up the governor's proposal to implement a 1.5% tax on workers or anything else this year. But if the House does not gavel out on Monday, the Senate will have to return to Juneau yet again. Contaminated water has been found at the Fairbanks International Airport, prompting officials to plan tests at private wells in nearby neighborhoods. According to airport officials, neighborhoods will begin to be tested on Monday to see if they are also contaminated by perfluorinated compounds, which are commonly found in firefighting foam. Angie Spear, airport manager, said that the foam probably was used in the early 1990s at the aircraft rescue and firefighting training sites. Now, studies have linked the contaminant to numerous cancers, but research on it is limited. Now, Spears said none of the airport's contaminated wells pose a risk to residents or business owners. Well, it is Friday, so that, of course, means one thing. And Marcus went to the movies. You can hear his opinion on the latest installment of Thor. And that's
Yikes.
always a
all
good thing.
like-
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Now, you deserve a little props, right? You are a machine. You've been here early this morning doing the morning show, the 5, the 6, the 10. You are a machine, Tracy
Did you
Sinclair.
even catch any of that sunshine that came out, Tracy?
I'm a vampire. I don't really like the sun. Yeah, bad for me.
Good-looking vampire. I like it. Thanks, Tracy.
All right, thanks, Tracy.
Thor Ragnarok hammered competing movies at the box office with its debut taking in $122 million, over $100 million more than Bad Moms Christmas, which came in second.
Chris Hemsworth is Thor and is surrounded by an all-star cast. The film is rated PG. Your weekend's made now, huh?
Looks good. Sign me up.
Cool graphics for sure. So still to come on the News Hour with Miss Trump heading home. President Trump is in Vietnam to talk trade.
Well, President Trump is in Vietnam for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC Summit. Now, he's there to talk trade, and today he promised to put America first in his trade practices. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell reports from Da Nang, Vietnam. Coming up tonight on the Late Edition, late last month we learned that the mysterious Musher X was 4-time Iditarod champion Dallas Seavey. Now, he continues to protest his innocence after being accused of giving his dogs tramadol. On the Late Edition, we speak to Seavey and the Trail Committee as he demands the results of his dog's drug test. We also hear how a surveillance tape could shed light on what happened. That story and all your news, weather, and sports tonight at 10 on the Late Edition.
Now on a lighter note, all right? It's the season of giving, and it's never too early to start.
Absolutely. One Connecticut woman spent the day buying thousands of dollars worth of toys for kids across her state.
Erica Donovan earned a
Other shoppers who saw all the bags heard Erica's story and started giving donations on the spot. It is that time of year.
That's great.
It's exciting stuff, right?
It's infectious.
Yeah.
It is. That's a very sweet story.
Yeah. Now, I know, obviously, with that time of year, we got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas. Are you guys gonna, anything exciting weather-wise? We're gonna, get ready
It's
for
going
that.
to be beautiful because Thanksgiving's next week, right? I can't
Coming.
believe
No, one more week,
We have one
Tracy.
more week. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Don't get your turkey yet, all right?
I was freaking out. Like, how can it be Thanksgiving? But next week's going to be beautiful. So we're going to have a lot of sunshine in South Central, stormy in the interior.
We'll see you back here on the Late Edition.